Today is a very exciting day as Aqara has just released the Aqara G5 Pro, their first outdoor camera. Now the most exciting part for many, including me, is the availability as a power over Ethernet option, which we'll be talking about in this video. Special thanks to Aqara for sending this review unit over for review. Now keep in mind this is a review unit, so some things may differ from the final production models, but overall things should be mostly the same. This video is not sponsored and you already know the deal. This is my honest take on it. If it's great, I'm gonna tell you, and if it's got issues, I'll tell you that as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now unboxing the PoE version of this camera, we have the camera itself, which is a beast. It's definitely got some size to it. A USB-C charging cable in case you don't want to power it with PoE, weather sealing kit, a tiny key for opening the back, mounting screws, and the instructional booklets, which, let's be real, you'll ignore until you need them. Now before you rush in to install this thing, stop. Trust me on this one. Set it up before you mount it. It's going to save you a ton of time and frustration. Now step one, I recommend downloading the Aqara app. Even if you're planning to use this only in Apple Home, try out the Aqara app because that's where most of the important features that you're going to use on this camera are going to live, such as the AI features and all that. So get the Aqara app to get this set up. So the first thing you're going to see obviously is the live feed of your camera with the ability to turn it on or off with the little eye function there. You have a camera button that you can take screenshots, you can start a recording, you can start using the talkback feature, and when you click into that you have a couple of different voice options you can use. And then of course you have the pause and play button, which is going to let you pause and play feedback. Under that you're going to have your control panel. You have associated event, and this is going to allow you to create events based on other devices. Next, you have the album where you can find your recordings or screenshots. Now the camera itself has a f1.0 lens on it, meaning it can see in extremely dark, low light environments. But it also has this spotlight on there that you can turn on or off right here. That will allow you to light up the scene a little bit more if you're not getting enough light. You can create an automation that turns that on for you if you need to, so that it'll turn on and you can see what's in the recording. Next, you have the ability to turn on or off face recognition, vehicle recognition, package detection, human detection, linger detection, AI sound detection, animal detection, and lens obstruction detection. All of these are AI features that this camera offers that Aqara is building into a lot of their cameras now, and I have found to be extremely useful in most cases. Digging into these settings, if you click the three dots at the top, we have a ton here as well. So of course you have your device and your device card like most Aqara devices. In your device settings, you have camera settings, detection settings, face management for that facial recognition, vehicle management for the vehicle recognition, correlate to alert system. You have the RTSP LAN preview, and that's going to allow you to add this camera to things like your home assistant or anything else that you're using of the like. More on that coming up in a minute, but that's how you get that into home assistant. Then you have your security settings, which you can turn on a password, change password for if you're opening in the app. Accidental removal protection. This is going to keep you from removing this or the device is connected to it from your system. Device offline notifications, self-healing mode, which is the ARC 2.0 mode that came out in the Aqara M3 hub. They introduced that, so if one hub fails, the other one will take its place immediately. And automatic unlocking. If you have an Aqara lock that will work with this feature, you can automatically unlock it depending on certain things like facial recognition or vehicle recognition. I don't have that set up. It just feels like I don't want any of my doors unlocking on the outside of my house automatically. Going back out of that, you have anti-theft lock, which means it won't connect to other Aqara accounts if something were to happen. So lost notifications, if someone were to rip this off of your house and take it with them, you can turn that on and you'll get a notification. Cloud storage. I don't have this set up again. This is something that is a part of that Home Guardian, so I don't have access to cloud storage. And a big thing here, local storage. It has 7 gigs of local storage built in. And then moving on, you have exposed to matter, Aqara matter controller. So this is where this thing really comes in handy. So They are advertising this as the Aqara G5 camera hub. And what that's going to do is it's making it a hub. So obviously you have the Aqara camera, other Aqara cameras that will allow you to use them as an Aqara hub and add your Aqara devices. But where this one differs is it is also a Matter controller, meaning I can add certain Matter devices to this and allow them to be controlled via this camera in my Aqara home ecosystem. Under that, you have albums, HomeKit, where you can add it to HomeKit, child devices. This is any device that are connected to it as a hub, and then network information, firmware update, and all of that fun stuff. Now, here's the thing about this. Like I said earlier, a lot of these features, like the AI features, such as the facial detection, the lingerer recognition, and the vehicle detection, are only available if you're using the Aqara app. If you're using Apple Home, Google, or Home Assistant, these settings don't carry over. That's a pretty big deal depending on how you're using your cameras. So make sure you keep that in mind as you set this thing up. Now, the Aqara G5 Pro has an onboard eMMC storage, 8 or 32 gigabytes, and I love that it has this, but more than that, I love that it supports the option to record directly to a NAS on the PoE version. And this is a huge deal because now I don't have to rely on cloud storage, which can be expensive and sometimes unreliable, or SD cards, which can fail or worse, be stolen along with the camera, and then you lose all the footage of who stole your camera. So instead, all of my footage goes straight to my NAS, just like my other PoE security cameras. It's all local, all encrypted, and fully under my control. This alone puts it way ahead of a lot of consumer-grade security cameras out there, especially in the HomeKit secure video space. Now let's talk about mounting the camera. This camera is as easy to mount as any camera. However, depending on which version you get, it's gonna be a little bit more difficult. So if you get the PoE version, you're gonna have to run Ethernet to it. And for me, that was very difficult. I was able to do it, I managed to do it. I wanted to put it specifically in this location so that I can see the porch, so I can see for packages and people at my door. Also, so I could see my driveway. I could only see my driveway from the other angle, which is where my Reolink camera is, and it didn't feel like it was gonna do a whole lot of good in the backyard where I have another Reolink camera. So I really wanted it here in this specific spot, which meant I had to get in the attic, drill a hole, get Ethernet cable down from the attic, run it down the side of my house, and get it to this camera. It was absolutely not easy. If you're running the Wi-Fi version, you won't have to do that. You just have to find a place to power it. So mounting it, not hard. Powering it, not easy, but has been very worth it in my situation. All right, so now let's talk about real world performance. First up, PoE. It means an Ethernet cable powers the camera and provides data to it. That means no batteries, no extra power cables, no Wi-Fi dropouts, just one reliable connection and power. And this is why I love PoE cameras. Stability is rock solid, no lag, no disconnects, but it is worth noting they also offer a Wi-Fi version of this camera, which means you're gonna have a power cable that you wanna find a place to plug it in. It's not battery powered, you still have to plug it in, but you have a Wi-Fi option as well. Now let's talk image quality. Like I said earlier, the f1.0 aperture is absolutely wild. Most cameras use an f2 or smaller, but f1 lets in 4 times more light. Compared to the infrared night vision on my Reolink camera, it's just not even close. Without the spotlight, the G5 Pro's color night vision is insanely good. You actually get usable footage at night instead of grainy, ghostly looking footage blobs. And don't even get me started on if it's raining or foggy outside, you are seeing nothing with that infrared, whereas with this, you're seeing everything just like it's daytime. All right, now let's talk about what's not so great. I said it at the beginning, this thing is not small. It's a chunk. If you want a discrete security camera, honestly, this ain't it. But if you had the right mounting spot, it's not a deal breaker. I have a place that I was able to make this work, and I actually think it looks really great. It says, hey, I see you, without standing out too much from the house. And secondly, the mounting system kind of sucks. The base only lets you tilt up and down. There's no side-to-side adjustment. So if you need an angled view, you're gonna need to buy a separate pivot mount from Amazon, which isn't a big deal. They're not expensive, but why Aqara didn't just include that, no idea. Not sure. Number 3, have very limited Home Assistant support. This is coming back to that RSTP feed. So when you add this, in order to get this into Home Assistant, you have to use that RSTP feed feature, meaning you're losing all AI detection features in Home Assistant. You're just getting a stream. For comparison, my $60 Reolink PoE camera fully integrates with Home Assistant via the Reolink plugin. That means I can detect a person in my driveway, which will then turn on my Philips Hue spotlights. I can ignore cars and animals. It'll only trigger that automation on people. That also gives me the opportunity to send myself notifications through Home Assistant instead of using 2 separate apps. I can do everything I need to do in Home Assistant without having to add it to other ecosystems. Now, with the Aqara G5 Pro, you don't get any of that. It's frustrating because this camera has incredible AI features. It just doesn't share them with other platforms. I would personally really love to see Aqara add more integration in Home Assistant that allows you to use these features in Home Assistant. I think for us power users, that would be a really big deal. So the real question here is, should you buy it? Absolutely yes. The AI features are absolutely phenomenal. I use it for vehicle detection. I use it for lingerer detection. So if someone's at my door for more than 3 seconds, it'll alert me in the Aqara app. The AI features have been phenomenal for package detection, much better than HomeKit Secure Video in my opinion. When a package is detected, it lets me know that a package is there, and it lets me know that a package has been removed from the porch if it's been there for a while. So that's a huge win in the Aqara G5 Pro category. So as mentioned, the Aqara G5 Pro is available today, February 20th, and I was able to get a 15% off promotional code that is good until the 24th. So check the link in my bio for that promo code. Using that does help the channel and it gets you 15% off. And let me know in the comments, are you grabbing the Wi-Fi version or the PoE version? I'd love to hear what you decide to grab. As always, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.